Welcome to another in our Picks and Ponderings video preview series. I'm Paul Major of Picks and Ponderings. I'm going solo this week for our video previews. The partner in crime, Nicole Newlist, is going to look at the headline from Laurel this week, the $350,000 Frank DeFrancis Memorial Dash, a strong ungraded stakes that headlines a stellar card at Laurel on Saturday. Check out her video preview that will be released also on the Picks Ponderings website. On Twitter, you can find me at HeyLaserbeam and jointly at Picks Ponderings. In this preview, I'm going to be looking at the Grade 3 $250,000 Red Smith Handicap. It's the feature on the Saturday, November 14th program at Aqueduct. It goes at 1 3/8 miles on the turf. And that's going to be a 3-turn configuration on the turf in Queens. As a little historical sidelight, this race used to be known as the Edgemere Handicap up until the early 80s, but was given a name change to honor Red Smith, a New York-based Pulitzer Prize-winning turf rider and sports rider. The Red Smith functions as the last graded stakes of the year on the grass in New York. And as such, you get form coming in all different directions. You get 3-year-olds who have their form on the way up, and you have graded stakes winners who have form on the way down. I shouldn't bet. Disclaimer, I should not do that with my hand. But the idea is that you have form in all different directions. It's going up, it's going down, it's going sideways. And trying to figure it all out is a little bit of a challenge. Adding to that is November weather. The National Weather Service out from New York put a coastal flood advisory for late Thursday. So we could be handicapping for testing soft ground. Or when you look a couple days later, they're calling for strong winds and drying out conditions. The long and short of it is that what the turf condition is going to be is as good a guess as anybody's. That is, if we're even going to be on the turf. So with that, we proceed with the selections as turf only. If we're washed off of the Red Smith Handicap, go on and rake some leaves out. Go on and strap on your leaf blower and rake some leaves during the Red Smith Handicap, since our preview is only for turf. But should it be turf only, the 7th at Aqueduct, the Red Smith, likely is going to go through the number 8 horse, and that's Holiday Star. Edgar Prado will ride the Graham Motion trainee. We're filming this preview without the luxury of morning lines, by the way. They'll be released later. Holiday Star has 2 wins in the Sycamore Stakes, a Grade 3 going 3 turns at 1.5 miles at Keeneland. He won the 2014 version in the rain on a soft course. He won the 2015 version on a firm course. I'm thinking with Holiday Star that around that late in the year when he went out to the Hollywood Turf Cup at Del Mar, and then when he was racing early in the year at Keeneland, that he went off form, and that he needed some time to get back into form, and he got back into form, winning a $50,000 stakes at Delaware, the Cape Henlopen, also known as the hardest core, wins a race and wins the Million Next Start Out Stakes. Cashes a second place check in the John's Call at Saratoga behind next out Grade 3 Kentucky Turf Cup winner Big Hoss, and wins the Grade 3 Sycamore. So he's got some relatively solid recent form, and it's also long distance form. He's chasing Big Hoss, who was a Grade 3 winner at 12 panels, and that was at 13 for a long distance. The Cape Henlopen's at Delaware. That's a 3-turn turf race. So he's got 3 straight podium finishes in 3-turn turf races. And since we're going 3 turns here at Aqueduct, that's solid. I'm not concerned over the given the ground, considering he won the 2014 Sycamore on ground-rated soft and does have other back form on non-firm turf. They're solid humans here, and we're going to look for they're solid humans, and we'll look for Holiday Star from the 8 post as our pick in the Grade 3 Red Smith Handicap, should it stay on the turf. The second choice will be the number 5 Iron Power. Those that follow racing on social media, or those that watch more than 5 New York races, will find that most turf races there tend to have all the excitement of a carousel ride. It seems 1 or 2 horses get to the front, and then they slow the pace down, and then all the other riders take a snooze. I'm thinking that if that scenario happens, that Iron Power is going to be the one who benefits from it. Iron Power did win 4 back going a mile and 3/8 at Belmont, though that's a 2-turn configuration at Belmont. However, Iron Power did win last fall over the Aqueduct surface in a twice other than allowance. The distance on the pedigree might be a bit of concern, considering we've got a mizzen mast, considering this one's a mizzen mast out of a Northern Ready mare. But we've done well at a mile, we've done well at a mile and 3/8. We have a win at Belmont at a mile and 3/8. We had the Super at a mile and 3/8 at Saratoga, and we're also someone whose form is going up. We're coming out of the state bred ranks. In this case, the New York state bred ranks, where we've been chasing around the Lubash Carafa 1-1A of New York bred turf males. We have 2 third-place finishes, one in the Cole and one in the Mohawk, both behind the Lubash Carafa 1-1A combination. Lubash and Carafa, those races in New York were a lot shorter than what he's facing here. They're sort of mile category races, 8-9 furlongs. Maybe he's going in those just because, hey, I'm a New York bred and I can run in the stakes. Yay! But it may be that based on what he's done at Saratoga and at Belmont in the summertime, that maybe he wants to go longer. I'm not concerned over. This is also a runner who I'm not concerned over ground with cut. Iron Power started the year in a 3 other than allowance with a 2nd place finish, and that was on soft ground at Keeneland. Again, for the turf, we're looking at Iron Power as a 2nd selection. To me, the 3rd selection could go to a number of different runners. I'm going to try the Marcassi entrant Kygun from the 6 box. We've seen Kygun do his work in mile races for a while. The Play the King, the Woodbine Mile, the Seabiscuit last fall during the Hollywood Turf Festival. And then he decides to show up and go 12 furlongs in the Canadian International. He didn't run too badly in the Pattison, and keep in mind that his last race at Woodbine, where he was 4th in the Pattison and 2 back 4th to Mondial Stay in the Woodbine, in the Rico Woodbine Mile, were over ground with give. So there's some give with ground. But with Kygun, he's kind of a bit of a WYSIWYG horse in that he's a bit of a WYSIWYG horse in that we see him sort of as a swing of wide, move up, try to pass tired horses in the stretch if there's a pace meltdown type. That's how he won the Play the King last year. Was when they go 21-4 for 7 furlongs at Woodbine. Even though it's the dead of summer, you don't go 21-4 at any turf course and stay on the lead. You win that by pace meltdown, and that's how Kygun wins races. Kygun is going to win if someone up on the front end throws up a pace meltdown. I know pace meltdowns happen happen very rarely in New York these days. But if someone decides to challenge Iron Power for some pace, or if somehow the race transfers to the dirt, I don't know. But at least he's been trying hard. At least he throws a good effort in most races. The problem is it's whether or not it's going to be good enough and whether or not there's going to be enough pace. I just think I'm also going to give him an edge over a horse like, say, Mr. Speaker, just because he's got a little bit more established off-turf form. And I'm thinking the ground is going to be, and I'm thinking with the with the Weather Service's coastal flood advisory and with drying out conditions, that a horse who has some better form over yielding and good ground is going to play better than someone who's done over firm ground, a la Mr. Speaker. So for me in the Grade 3 Red Smith Handicap, the 7th at Aqueduct on the 14th of November, I'm looking to the number 8 Holiday Star over the number 5 Iron Power in second, and number 6 Kaigun in third. And keep in mind the selections are for turf only. Whether the ground is firm or whether the ground is soft is not an issue. So if we wake up Saturday morning and the Red Smith says firm ground at Aqueduct, roll with the 856. If it's soft ground and it's a marshy bog, roll with the 856. Surface is not we're still turf only, but we're using those two. We're using that combination. The long shot to watch for us in the Grade 3 Red Smith comes from the number 2 hole, and that's Great Dancer. Kendrick Carmouche will ride this James Lawrence trainee, who is a 3-year-old taking on Elders. I would want a 3-year-old taking on Elders in this spot because a lot of these runners like Kaigun, like War Dancer, like others are going to have long campaigns. And Great Dancer is going to get weight allowances for being a 3-year-old. Also keep in mind that he hasn't done terribly bad. He hasn't done anything wrong in his 3-year-old races. He was a fourth in the Commonwealth Derby. That's a Grade 2. Disclaimer: it's really a Grade 3. It's just the Virginia Derby. Move forward in the year. Nothing to see. Move along. Behind one go all go, and then on the way out of form, force the pass. Last time out over soft ground in the Hill Prince, he was third to take over Target on the undercard of the Jockey Club Gold Cup. But that was over soft ground, so he can handle. So as a 3-year-old on turf, going turf on the turf, he's shown he has something to build on, and maybe him on this end. He's also on the stretch out from the mile category 8, 9 furlong, from the 9 furlong races of the Hill Prince and the Commonwealth Derby to the Red Smith, and maybe he's closer to the lead, and maybe on the stretch out he becomes that one runner in Aqueduct turf races that goes on the lead and leads everybody around in a merry goose chase. Maybe he does that, or perhaps as a 3-year-old he's stepping up and taking on an East Coast turf group that I think gets way more press than it deserves. Bottom line, a sharp 3-year-old who has some transferable form and is on the stretch out is going to be my long shot to watch. That's number 2, Great Dancer. We'll recap the Red Smith selections turf only of 8, 5, 6 with a long shot of 2. We've been doing these video previews for a little while here at Picks and Ponderings. We've taken you through a couple Hawthorne races, up through the Breeders' Cup, and into some post-Breeders' Cup races. But we'd like your feedback on these video previews too, now that we've composed more than one. We've got a good body of work, and we're glad you're enjoying it, and we're also looking for some feedback. We'd like some feedback in the comments section of our Picks and Ponderings posts. Send some feedback through Twitter, send feedback through email, carrier pigeon, however method you wish to communicate. We'd like to hear what you think about the video previews that we've been doing at Picks and Ponderings. We want to know whether or not we'll keep them going for next week and the week after. But good luck in this week's Red Smith Handicap, where I like Holiday Star.